Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is 10 to Life, where we are talking everything true crime. So if you have never heard of this channel or seen me pop up on your YouTube before, welcome. I hope you appreciate today's case coverage, and for all of my returning 10 to Lifers, welcome back. We are talking about a case that so many of you guys have been talking about. Now, at first when I heard this case, I really didn't know what the truth was. I didn't know what the situation was. I didn't know what the truth was. And then, of course, all of you guys were just like slipping and sliding into my DMs being like, oh my God, have you seen this? Did you see this update? Cover this case. So we are talking about it today because it is so crazy and there are just still so many unknowns in this case. Now, most of us can remember the feeling of being in high school, wanting more independence from our parents, and maybe even wishing that they would just let us do whatever the heck we wanted. Between the ages of 14 and 18, there can be a power struggle between parents and their children. When parents establish rules for their kids, a teenager, I know I did, might feel like they are trying to baby them or control everything that they do. And some of us can remember wanting to stay out past curfew. And some of us, myself included, might have even snuck out of the house a time or two to go and party, go to that, party that everybody was going to be at and, just break the rules a little bit. It's never the kid's intention to get hurt, ever, and rarely the intention to get into any sort of real trouble. Most of the time, it's just to do something fun with friends and maybe feel a little bit more like an adult for just even a few hours. So the case I'm about to tell you has now come as a shock to everyone in two North Carolina communities, especially the high school students. It's shown them that what starts out as harmless fun can quickly turn into something dangerous and even deadly. These kids have learned the hard lesson that this life is sometimes, yes, unfair. Not everybody is your friend, and sometimes your parents are, in fact, right. Unfortunately, it took two of their peers' lives for them to realize how cruel this world really can be. So guys, let's jump right into it.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
On Saturday, September 17th at around 10 a.m., Shane Canada went to wake up his 14-year-old stepdaughter, Lyric Woods. When he looked in her room, he noticed that she wasn't in her bed. So he walked around the house to see if she was maybe in another room, but he couldn't find her anywhere. And that's when he noticed that the back door was unlocked, and he got extremely worried. Shane knew that he locked the door the night before. Like most of us do before we go to bed, we lock up the house, close everything down. So he was worried that Lyric must have snuck out in the middle of the night. And even though Lyric had never stuck out in the past, no one else in the home knew where she was, and nobody else unlocked the door. So that was the only logical explanation, that Lyric unlocked it and she walked out the door, unless, of course, this was something way more sinister, like an abduction. So Shane and Lyric's mother, Elizabeth, weren't concerned that Lyric had run away because she hadn't taken anything with her other than an iPad. Surely, if she were going to run away, she would have taken a bag, clothes, money, but none of that stuff was missing, only Lyric. Lyric is a member of two blended families. When her parents Elizabeth and Brady Woods divorced, Elizabeth married Shane, who had two other children, Parker and Haley, from a previous marriage. Elizabeth and Shane had a daughter together, Genevieve, which they also nicknamed her as Novi, and she became Lyric's half-sister. So the family lives off a rural road in a suburb called Elfland, which is located in Orange County, North Carolina. Brady, Lyric's father, married a woman named Jennifer, who had two daughters, Caroline and Lily, from a previous marriage. Brady and Jennifer had a son together named Waylon, which is Lyric's half-brother. And Brady and his wife live in a nearby town called Gibsonville in Alamance County. So Lyric is said to have an absolutely great relationship with her mother and father, and you can tell that she was well loved by both of her families. Shane recalled seeing Lyric the night before around 11 p.m. when she went to take a shower, but is unsure what time she could have left. After Shane and Elizabeth called Brady and everybody else that they could think of, they decided to call the police to report their daughter as missing. They were panicked at this moment. They had no idea where she could have gone. So it's unclear whether or not Lyric had her phone or if it was maybe taken away. But Elizabeth said that since she didn't have it with her, they had no way to track her on the Find My iPhone or any of the other tracking apps. So when police got to Lyric's residence, a pillowcase was taken from her bed for the canine tracker dogs to use to pick up her scent. The canine showed interest in the woods behind the family home that had a road on the other side. indicating that Lyric possibly was picked up by somebody in a vehicle on that road. And this was later corroborated when a neighbor told police that at 3:30 a.m. he saw Lyric in the car with a male who he believed to be an adult.
Now, we can tell you the Orange County Sheriff's Office announced they were looking for a 14-year-old girl last seen on Friday night. It's important to note they have not said whether her disappearance is connected with tonight's investigation. Deputies asked for the public's help finding Lyric Woods. She's a 9th grade student enrolled at Cedar Ridge High School. We are working to get an update from the Sheriff's Office about that investigation.
So the family took to social media to ask for help from the community to locate Lyric, and her stepsister Haley made a now deleted TikTok saying that Lyric was possibly with a boy named Devin. It's not clear at this point how Devin was assumed to be with Lyric, but many friends and students started sharing information asking for the whereabouts of the two of them as well. So the police followed up on all leads on Saturday, and they searched the surrounding areas of Lyric's home. Again, her home is in a rural area where people will go and ride four-wheelers, go hiking, dirt biking, but the police were sure that Lyric took off in a vehicle and probably wouldn't be close by. The next day on Sunday, September 19th, a woman named Tiffany Concepcion was on social media when she came across a post about the missing 14-year-old girl, Lyric. And beside her picture, she saw her 18-year-old son, Devin. So Devin's parents are also divorced, and he was currently residing with his father, Dexter Clark, in Mabane, which is a suburb of Alamance County in North Carolina, about 5 miles from Elfland, where Lyric lives. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing all of these towns wrong, guys. I'm trying my best here. There's a lot of them. So Tiffany was shocked, obviously, to see her son on this post and had no idea that her son was even missing. Imagine coming across that. You're literally on social media. You see this post, see a photo of your son. You're like, what the heck is going on here? So Tiffany immediately called Dexter, who told her that he last saw Devin Friday night around 11 p.m. Even though Devin was still in high school, he was 18, and it seems Dexter wasn't too worried about him since he had only been gone a little bit more than a day. But Tiffany, panicking that her son was allegedly missing with Lyric, called the police around 11:30 Sunday morning to report her son as officially missing. Tiffany was obviously very upset that she had to find out about her son being missing on social media, and she made this gut-wrenching video on Facebook.
In the morning, he has not been back or been heard from. His phone is dead. They got an Amber Alert. They got it looking for him. I don't know where he may be. I don't know where he may be or where he may have went. But that is my baby. And if anybody's seen my son, please inform me. He lives in Devin. I don't know where he may be. I hope he's safe. I hope nothing happened to him. I pray the Lord watch over my child. Bring him back home to me. Please, I ask my grandmother to watch over him, be his angel. Because I know my son is scared. I don't know if he's gone willingly or he's gone, somebody got him. I don't know. This never happened. Lord, please just be with me, my family, and my child, and my other 2 kids. That's my heart. And I don't want nothing bad to happen to my child. I don't know what I would do if my child is hurt somewhere and I don't know where he's at. I just pray, please, Lord. I don't get on Facebook and do none of this, but this is my child. My body is so numb because I literally don't know where my child is at. He is missing. He been gone since Friday night, 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning.
She explained that Lyric and Devin were friends and made a plea for anyone to come forward with information regarding their whereabouts. So as horrible as finding out that your son is missing on social media, Tiffany was about to hear much worse news this way as well. because just before 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, 2 men were riding their four-wheelers in Elfland area when they came across a gruesome discovery. On the corner of Bushy Cook Road and Buckhorn Road, just 2 miles away from Lyric's home, the men saw a male and a female, clearly deceased in a grassy area near some power lines, and it appeared that they had been shot. The police were called, and even though they couldn't be formally identified until they were examined by the medical examiner, due to the lack of any other missing people in the area, the police were almost positive that this was missing Lyric Woods and Devin Clark.
In the last 15 minutes, the Orange County Sheriff's Office says they believe the 2 bodies found off Buckhorn Road on Sunday are those 2 missing teens.
CBS 17's Haley Fixler is joining us now live with this new information. Haley.
Well, investigators are still waiting for that medical report, but right now the sheriff's office does believe the bodies found right up on this hill were of 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark. They were both reported missing Saturday. The Orange County Sheriff's Office updating this Facebook post from Sunday, urging people to look for 14-year-old Lyric Woods, a freshman at Cedar Ridge High School. Now it alerts the public her disappearance is a homicide investigation. On social media, family members posted Woods was discovered dead on Sunday after she left her mother's home without her phone. They believe she was picked up by someone early Saturday morning. I found out that Woods' mother lives just about 2 miles away from where her body was discovered on Buckhorn Road. Investigators say 18-year-old Devin Clark was found with Woods. His mother, Tiffany Conception, says the former football player at Eastern Alamance High School went missing around the same time Woods did.
What led up to the shooting? Where's the other person? Who's the person that picked either one of them up? Who is the person or people that dropped them off? It's too many questions.
Now, just moments ago, I did just get a copy of the missing persons report filed for Woods. I'm going to share what I found in those documents tonight at 5. Live in Mebane, Haley Fixler, CBS 17 News.
All right, Haley, thank you.
Lyric's parents were allegedly called to the scene so that they could identify their daughter. Quickly after, the news broke out on Facebook, and once again, Tiffany didn't learn about the death of her son until she saw somebody else post an update on social media. As devastated as she was, Tiffany decided that she needed to set aside any of her anguish and that it was going to be her mission to find out who did this to her son, why, and to ultimately get him justice. After the horrible discovery of Lyric and Devin, everybody obviously had a ton of questions. Both sets of parents were desperate to understand how this could have happened to 2 amazing kids. Devin, who attended East Alamance High School, was an incredible athlete, played football, and was known to his friends and family as just, a gentle giant. Being over 6 feet tall, his sweet and gentle nature was a little unexpected, and he was said to have always had a positive attitude and outlook on life. While some people on social media have attempted to paint Devin as a gangbanger of sorts or a thug, I hate those words, but whatever, everybody who knew him personally has said that he is the furthest thing from that, and that is the farthest thing from the truth. He was a good kid, never got in trouble, made good grades, and was loved by just so many people. And it's not been explained exactly how Devin and Lyric knew each other since they went to different high schools, but it is speculated that they met through mutual friends. Lyric was a freshman at Cedar Ridge High School, where she played volleyball and is said to have been extremely caring, silly, and just a very giving person. When the 2 were found together, many assumed that maybe they had been in a relationship, but there has been no further evidence to support that. As with most cases like this, social media started making speculations about the parents, specifically Lyric's stepdad being involved somehow, and this happened right out of the gate. There have been reports that the land where Lyric and Devin were found is actually owned by Shane, her stepfather, but that has not yet been confirmed, and I don't think that would automatically make him involved either in any way. However, some have said that they thought it was a little weird that he knew the exact time Lyric was taking a shower, and that he seemed to be the one most involved with Lyric, more than her mother, Elizabeth. We haven't really heard where Lyric's mom was in all of this, why Shane was waking Lyric up on Saturday morning, or if Lyric was maybe on some sort of punishment and didn't have her phone, which is why she took her iPad with her instead. It's even been said that maybe Lyric's stepdad and mom found out that she snuck out and went to find her. When they found her, they were really upset about her being with Devin, and things got out of hand. Tiffany, Devin's mother's mind was going in a completely different direction, though. She made the point that her son didn't have a car, didn't even know how to drive, so there would have had to have been a third person involved for him to get picked up from his home in Melbourne and then drove over to where Lyric got picked up in Elfland. Soon after Lyric and Devin were found, another neighbor came forward and said that he was watching TV around 12:30 or 1 a.m., and an hour later he heard several gunshots.
The top of a red cross can be seen from Buckhorn Road, and from the air it's surrounded by flowers, marking the site where two teenagers were found dead Sunday afternoon.
And I heard about close to 10 shots going off like an automatic gun, and then I paused for a little bit, and then 5 more shots went off.
David White lives just feet away from where an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old were found dead with gunshot wounds. The Orange County Sheriff's Office said 2 men riding four-wheelers discovered the bodies.
But he never hurt nobody. And for him to get done like this is I have to have answers.
Tiffany Concepcion is the mother of Devin Clark, an Eastern Alamance High School football player. She filed a missing persons report about an hour before her son was found next to 14-year-old Lyric Woods, a teen she says was her son's friend.
He was an athletic person. He was a good person. He was a good friend. He had a good heart.
Lyric Woods' family reported her missing on Saturday afternoon. An incident report says that Woods' stepfather last saw her home around 11 p.m. on Friday. He went to wake her up Saturday morning, but she was gone. Authorities checked hunting stands and backwood trails and used a canine to search for Lyric, her scent taking the dog into these woods. The report also states a neighbor said they saw Woods riding in a vehicle near where she was found around 3 a.m. on Saturday. Deputies believe Woods got a ride from someone in that car.
Where's the other person? Who's the person that picked either one of them up? Who is the person or people that dropped them off?
So if this were true, and if the gunshots were related to Lyric and Devin's murder, then the sighting of Lyric in a vehicle with a man at 3:30 a.m. wouldn't be possible, right? Unless someone is miscalculating their times, which is certainly possible. Lyric's grandfather took to Facebook to post a reward of $10,000 to anyone who could bring information on who possibly could have done this to Lyric and Devin. Tiffany's theory of a third person being involved had seemingly been confirmed because on Wednesday, September 21st, police announced that they had identified a suspect for the murder of Lyric and Devin. Sheriff Charles Blackwood said in a statement, "Through the hard work of my investigators, along with the assistance of personnel from many other law enforcement agencies, we have identified a suspect in this case. We will now work with local, state, and federal authorities to apprehend and present the suspect to the court system." Now, the suspect is allegedly a 17-year-old male, and due to him being a minor, his name has not yet been released. On Tuesday, a juvenile petition, which is the juvenile equivalent to an arrest warrant, was filed to bring the 17-year-old in. However, as of Thursday, the 17-year-old still has not been apprehended, and it's said that he is still at large, which I'm assuming means that he is on the run. So we'll see if by the time this video gets posted, if he's been caught or not. He is being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. In North Carolina, a law was passed that even if a 16 or 17-year-old is charged with first-degree murder, they are not automatically charged as an adult. So after his first appearance, officials will determine if the case will be transferred to the Superior Court for him to be tried as an adult. And if this happens, the suspect's name will more than likely be released. While this case has developed quickly, Tiffany has obviously had some criticism towards how the police handled her son's case from the very beginning. According to her, Lyric's parents were able to identify their daughter, but she was unable to see her son and still has not seen her son and had to identify him through photos of his clothing. She has said that she wishes that an Amber Alert would have been sent out as soon as the children were reported as missing, but that wasn't done until Sunday, and it was only done for Lyric, and I believe that this is because of Devin's age. Now, I know it seems like this case might be pretty cut and dry since they have identified a suspect, but I'm not so sure, especially with some of the holes in this story, and it just seems like there is something else going on here, and I can't put my finger on it yet, guys, but something is just not feeling right. Lyric's family seemed to be very vocal on social media at first, but since she has been found, they have posted almost nothing. More than that, besides Brady and his wife Jennifer, Everybody else on the Shane and Elizabeth side has completely deleted all of their social media altogether. Lyric's Facebook and TikTok accounts have also been removed. Shane and Elizabeth's Facebooks have been removed, and their daughter Haley has been removed as well. The only person who doesn't really seem to be in the mix of all of this is Shane's oldest son, Parker. Now, I'm not sure if this means anything, but it kind of appears that he might be somewhat estranged from his father and the family. I did some research into him and into his wife, and they live in Texas, but have no mention of Parker's family, no photos, no nothing. So I wonder if there could be some sort of rift in the family with Shane and Parker for whatever reason. Maybe Shane was an overbearing father, I'm not sure. But it just seems really odd that it appears Parker has essentially started completely over with his wife and her family and doesn't really acknowledge his family in North Carolina at all. There also was some talk on the Justice for Lyric and Devin groups on Facebook about how Elizabeth may have not been getting along so well with Lyric and may have taken away her cell phone. So some think that this could have caused Lyric to rebel a little bit, and that's why she felt like she had to sneak out to see Devin. I know this is a little bit of a touchy subject, but I feel like I just have to mention it. There have also been allegations from several people that Lyric's stepdad was less than thrilled about her seeing or hanging out with a black boy. It seems like there is a lot of racial tension in this town, and this video by a community activist sheds a little light on that and some more theories going on in the community.
Seeing your children ride up and down this street right now after two of their friends was just murdered. All because you didn't like this girl? Really? Say. But I be on this phone with this mama. I heard what she going through. But I'm going to tell y'all something. She is being very strong. Very strong. I believe she's in shock. I believe this mother is in shock because I'm going to tell you something. Let you tell me I can't see my child. You telling me that you're going to let me identify my child? No. Y'all identify my child through fucking fingerprint? How my son ain't never been in trouble? How and my baby ain't never been in trouble? He ain't in the system. But y'all want to blame this mother for starting a racial issue. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. You have a whole page created saying that this baby is a thug. But y'all got his family out here saying, listen, that's not his character. He's a football player. He makes good grades. He does this and this and this. But y'all are doing social media. Y'all are doing everything to tear this boy down because he was found laid next to a white female. And like we talked about the other night, Lyric wasn't racist. Now, I've been told that her family was. That's not my business. My concern are these kids. I know she wasn't a racist. Guess what? I'm going to justice. I'm going to be out here at this courthouse, and I'm going to make sure Devin gets justice. And let me tell you something else. I said today, all these little secret, I don't know if y'all having secret meetings. Blackwood, I don't know if y'all having secret meetings. But 2 kids was killed, not 1. Everybody needs to be at the table. Am I right or wrong? No sidebar meetings. Devin's family need to be there right along with hers because 2 kids was murdered on the same property. And guess what? I don't care who property it belongs to.
While we don't know who the suspect is at this point, with 2 males, 1 female, I think there is always room for speculation of a possible love triangle. The police have said that this was definitely not random, and by the sounds of the kids' injuries, this person was full of rage. Reportedly, Devin was unrecognizable due to the amount of gunshots he received. The person who heard the gunshots said that he heard over 10 gunshots from what sounded like an automatic weapon. I think it'll be very interesting to find out how a 17-year-old got their hands on a weapon like this in the first place, but more importantly, why he was so angry. I think that more than likely Lyric and Devin were really good friends, possibly had a crush on each other or something, and then the third person was angry about it. I know Devin being 18 has raised some eyebrows as well here, but they're both in high school and it's not unheard of for a senior to date a freshman. I just don't know. I get a weird feeling about the stepdad a little bit, guys, and the fact that the entire family has now deleted all of their social media, which could just be because they are grieving and want to be left alone. It just seems weird. It could also be because they don't want backlash of what is about to be made public. I kind of feel like the son Parker, seeming estranged from his dad, says something too. Could this be some kind of cover-up situation or a murder for hire situation that went wrong? I don't know. With so many little facts, it's hard to be sure of anything yet. But more details are pouring in, and what happens in the dark always comes to light, as we say. So I'm sure we will find out more. The parents have also reportedly turned in Lyric's cell phone and her iPad, but it's said that Lyric took her iPad with her. So was the iPad found at the scene, or were there two iPads? Why did Lyric not have her cell phone? Was there some conflict in the household, possibly about Lyric's behavior? Or did her mom take away her phone because it was making her depressed, because she didn't want her talking to certain people? Why was it? And could she have been depressed because she wasn't allowed to hang out with Devin unless she did it behind her parents' back? I think that this is a really odd detail that nobody has mentioned at all. Lyric's grandfather went and put lights on the cross that was put up as a memorial at the area where Lyric and Devin were found. He did this because he said Lyric was afraid of the dark, which has people wondering why Lyric would have gone through the woods and in the dark to get picked up in the first place. I looked at the Google Earth image of their property, and I think that what would make the most sense if she went out that back door would be for her to go through this little patch of woods right here, which doesn't seem like she'd have to be trekking through the woods that long, or maybe Devin or the other guy met her on the side yard of the woods so that they could walk with her together to the car. I don't know. Now, I also want to talk about that 911 call really quick, because there was just a break in this case overnight that there was an update that the 911 call made by the men who found the bodies of Lyric and Devin has been released. And in my opinion, this 911 call makes things even weirder. The blog North Carolina Beat was able to get access to the 911 call and explained that the voice in the call has been changed so that the real voice of the caller cannot be identified. This might be because the caller will be called as a witness in trial to explain what he saw, or the police thought the call was a little strange as well and might think that this person is more involved somehow. So I'm going to go ahead and play the call, and then we can discuss.
Orange County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
I guess the officers probably need to respond non-emergency, but it is a pretty serious issue. I would like to speak to the officer in person, but what we have found is we've actually discovered two dead bodies.
Okay, give me one moment.
I don't know if it was.
What's the address as to where this is?
At the residence?
Yeah, what's the address as to where you found the bodies?
There's not an address. It's kind of, there's no house where we found the bodies.
Okay, is there a cross street or anything?
It's in Buckhorn and Yarborough? Yes, it's at the end of Buckhorn and Yarborough Road.
Okay, give me one moment. And what's the telephone number you're calling me from?
The telephone number is my cell phone number.
And what is that?
Mesa 14.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
And where exactly near this location did you find them?
The what?
Exactly where are the bodies?
There's an access to, like, where the power company cut a road in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just laying around on the side of the road.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and notify an officer and have them to come out and speak with you in reference to this.
Is there any need for me to meet the officer there to show them where this is, or do you think they can find it, or?
If you could just remain on scene so they can know where to locate it.
All right, we'll go back to the scene because we came home.
So tell me what you think. Doesn't that just sound a little off? First of all, I know everybody reacts differently to things. I get it. But if I just found a body, and I think most people who would stumble across a body, especially two bodies of children who have clearly been shot multiple times, I think that I would sound a little bit more frantic. have a little bit more of a sense of urgency. I'd probably be pretty emotional and upset as well. This caller just sounds unbothered, like he didn't just come across 2 murdered children. And who is he to decide, well, I think the police can come non-emergency? I'm sorry, excuse me, but finding 2 dead children in the grass who have been shot is absolutely an emergency. I can't think of something that would be more of an emergency, unless, of course, they were still alive and needing, medical attention. So, oh yeah, hi, I just found some bodies. No rush though, come whenever. What? It just seems very bizarre to me. And the audio cuts off, but the caller says at the end that he's not actually still at the scene because he went home to tell his dad and ask what to do. Okay, first of all, what? Why did he need to find out from his dad what to do when you stumble across 2 dead bodies? Obviously, you call 911. It also indicates that this caller was very young. And I don't know, guys. Some people might say it's because the 4-wheelers and maybe they didn't have their cell phones on them, but who doesn't carry their phones, especially when they're going off-roady? And even if that's true, you'd still think that he would have run home, called 911 frantically and said, hey, I just came across 2 bodies. They appear to have been shot. I think it's the missing boy and the girl from the news. Please hurry, come quick. It's just so weird. And the fact that he said he wanted to talk to the officer in person, like what is it that he needed to say that the dispatcher couldn't have relayed to the officer? And when he says there isn't really any houses around, there are literally 2 houses directly across the street from where Lyric and Devin were found. So the next thing that I found strange was I've never heard a 911 dispatcher ask so few questions to somebody who just found a body. Usually every time I've heard anything like this, the dispatcher says, are you sure they're dead? How are you sure? Can you check their pulse? Some even instruct CPR, or they say, of course, wait on the scene until officers arrived, all these things. The caller didn't indicate how he knew they were dead. If they were decomposed, which is highly unlikely since they had only been there for around 12 hours, and what if there was a possibility that one could have been alive with a faint pulse or heartbeat? I highly doubt it, but the 911 caller didn't know that. No one seems to find this situation urgent or distressing at all, in my opinion. She didn't ask, is it male? Is it female? What do they look like? Can you tell the age? Are they clothed? Anything. Is anybody else around? Nothing. All questions that you would think a dispatcher would ask. Not to perpetuate any conspiracy theories, but it's almost like this 911 caller knew that this call was going to come in. It's so weird. One last thing, the discrepancy in the timeline does also seem a little sketchy to me. That one neighbor supposedly heard the gunshots at around 2, but then Lyric was seen in a car a little after 3. And not that that's any fault of the neighbors, but I think that if I heard a semi-automatic gun firing almost 20 times at 3 in the morning, that, I don't know, I might call the police. I might think that something's up, but I don't know, maybe that's just me being paranoid. A strange detail I found in an article that I haven't seen anywhere else too is how everybody is saying and assuming that Lyric was seen in the car, since it was referred to as a vehicle in most of the reports. The neighbor supposedly saw her around 3 or 3:30 a.m. in a vehicle, which, like I explained before, doesn't match the timeline, but that's something that's still under a lot of speculation. Anyways, in this article, it clearly says that Lyric was seen at 3 a.m. on a 4-wheeler. So I'm not putting blame on anyone, but is it possible that Lyric was with these 2 men, and that's why they knew where her and Devin were, and why the caller doesn't sound distressed at all? Or was this just a reporting mistake? Because I don't know, guys, that just seems like a pretty specific thing for somebody to recount. Maybe there was more than just the 17-year-old charged, which some people have been curious about, the evidence that points to this one single 17-year-old kid acting alone. So I would be interested to see what evidence points to the 17-year-old. And I'm going to keep you updated on that for sure as I learn. So as of Friday, the suspect still has not been apprehended, but there is a name floating around. I'm not going to release the name on here yet since he is a minor and it's not yet been confirmed, but if the case gets moved to Superior Court, I will let you know. And again, by the time this video goes up, he might have been apprehended, so we'll see. But as of now, as of recording, he has not. So locals of Orange County, North Carolina have said that the medical examiner's office and autopsies usually take a while there, anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month to get autopsy results and toxicology reports. So when that information comes out, we'll be able to see if this was possibly drug related, if there was any sign of SA that took place, which some have alluded to, and Devin trying to step in to help Lyric or something along those lines. Only time will tell. So far, there have been candlelight vigils, balloon releasing ceremonies, and people from all across the communities coming together for Lyric and Devin. The kids at their respective schools are reportedly having a really hard time accepting this, especially since the person who did this hasn't been caught yet. But many leaders in the community are helping to turn this tragedy into a way for parents to connect with their kids, to help them understand the dangers in this world and put things into perspective for some of the ones who might be running around with the wrong crowd or getting into trouble. At that age, kids tend to feel invincible. I know I did, but bad things happen to good people all the time, and this is a prime example of that. I just hope that we get the answer soon and that the correct person is brought to justice for Lyric and Devin, or the correct people, plural. Nobody expects to lose their child so young, and I can't imagine the pain of trying to grieve your child and plan a funeral all at the same time while the suspect is still, unaccounted for. Devin's father, Dexter, is reportedly having such a hard time coping with the death of his son that he's not able to plan things right now because of how much he's grieving, which is absolutely understandable. There have been 2 GoFundMe set up to help with the funeral arrangements for Lyric and Devin, so if any of you want to consider helping these families who both ultimately lost their children too soon, please do so. Please let me know what you guys think about this case. Who do you think was involved? Do you think the timelines don't match up? Am I just being, hyper paranoid here? It just seems weird. The 911 call is weird. Some of the stuff about the stepdad is just giving me weird vibes. Not so much that he knew what time she was taking a shower, because I think that could be an easy thing to explain away. Like, oh, I was walking to get a snack before my favorite show started at 11. Friends always is playing, so I watch Friends at 11 p.m. But my favorite show was starting, so I was getting a snack and I noticed that the bathroom door was closed, so she was showering. I think it can be easily explained away, but there are a lot of things indicating that if she was sighted in a vehicle with an adult, could that adult have been her stepdad? Could something have been going on? Could then Devin, I don't know. There's a lot of things. So let me know what you guys think if you've been following this case. And I, of course, will keep you updated as more information comes in. All right, guys, please continue to hope for justice for these 2 young kids, and let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. All right, guys, until the next case, stay safe.